am so sorry this video took so long to make. Oh my gosh, I'm in a rental house right now. I've moved, I've changed. Oh man, but I am still drinking Dunkin' Donuts coffee. Except, since I'm about to move, all my stuff's in storage, so my good Dunkin' Donuts cups are not with me. At any rate, my name is Mr. Krause. You can call me Mr. Key for the next hour or so. We are doing the August 16th, 2018 exams. This is going to be problems 13 through 24. All of this stuff can be found, which I have not prepared, on my website at Mr. Krause, MrKrauseMath.com. If you click on here for Regents and you go into Algebra 2 Common Core Regents, all the videos for all those Regents exams exist right there. I'm working on those, coming soon. Turned out to be a lot longer than I thought. Without further ado, let's get started. Now, again, what I'm going to show you is how to use your math, your brain, and your calculator to get you the best score possible. Hopefully you do okay. Now, if you do okay on the Regents exam, please shoot me a line and say, hey, Mr. Krause, I did okay. I didn't do so bad. Let me know how you did. If you get 100, I'd love to put you on my wall of fame. I got a nice wall of fame going. You can see over here on my thing. Where's my Hall of Fame? Let's see if I got this updated. There we go. All these kids got hundreds that worked on mine. These are all my kids. All these kids. These are kids I helped across New York State. These are my kids that I got hundreds on stuff. All right, there we go. There's my wall of fame. You can end up on my wall of fame if you get 100. Anyway, really difficult to get 100. So Jake wants to buy a car and hopes to save at least $5,000 for a down payment. The table below summarizes the amount of money he plans to save every week. Okay. Based on this plan, which expression should be used to determine how much money he's saved in N weeks? Now, all of these, if I look at these, all of these are using this formula right here. Oops, not that formula. Oh, baby, crazy. Let's go over here. This formula right here. A sum of a geometric sequence. If I look at it, I'm looking at all of them, I'm saying that looks like that formula, that sum of a geometric series. And again, we're trying to add up to a total. So which plan should he use to determine how much he's saved, how much he has added up? And that formula that I just showed you on this sheet is really, really important for adding up. And this comes up almost every other year on the Regents exam. So let me write that formula down. That formula is S sub n equals, let's see, A1 minus A1 rate to the n all over 1 minus rate. Now, it's this rate thing that's the trickiest that we have to find. Now, if I look at all those, I'm like, okay, those look like geometric sequences. Do you see here this rate? It looks like it might be 2.5. Now, where in the world did this 2.5 thing come in? Well, here's how it works. If you take this 5 and divide by 2, 5 divided by 2, you get 2.5. So it looks like my rate of growth is 2.5%. Now, if I take 12.5 and divide by 5, 12.5 and divide by 5, I also get 2.5. And if I take 31.25 and divide by 12.5, I also get 2.25. So my rate is 2.5. So now, believe it or not, that's it. That's all you got to do. You just got to use the formula properly. You got to first know the formula exists and use the formula properly. So what is my first term? My first term is 2. So my a sub 1 should be 2 and 2. See, a sub 1 is 2, a sub 1 is 2. And so that means it's got to be either this one or this one. So it can't be this. Then it says raised to the n. Well, the 2.5 is there, 2.5 is there, and raised to the n. And there is the answer. There isn't any other way to do that one, kids. You have to know that formula exists, and you have to know how to find that geometric ratio from one problem to the next. All right, let's move on. Holy crazy problem. All right, I'm going to show you how to do this problem. I might pause the video for a minute to kind of do a little bit of work. But here's how it works. Did you notice? Here's how the easiest way to do it, honestly. Do you notice that these are the same? So if I factor those away from both of these, or I take it out and I factor it out, x to the 4th minus 16, what I'm left with is x to the 6th, y to the 4th, minus, that's a 4. I hate when I do my 9s, and they look like my 4s and they look like 9s, minus 9. Now, That's not one of the answers. But I can factor this one, continually factor this one to x squared plus 4x squared minus 4. Now, how many have that in there? Just one. And there's your answer. But what did they do here? Believe it or not, this is a perfect square and this is a perfect square. So this is also the difference of perfect squares. How? Well, the square root of this is x cubed x squared, or x cubed y squared. X cubed y squared. And 9 is just minus 3 and plus 3, which is why this is the answer. Now, the day of the regions, I am not going to go through this. This is going to take me forever. But the day of the regions, you come over here to your calculator. If your brain's all shot, and you're like, I don't know what's going on, I don't know how to do this problem, don't go there. That's not very useful. Go into calculator mode, store 2.145, any number you want, store it into x. Take 6.524, whatever it is, store it into y. Bam. And again, I'm not going to show you this, but what you would do then is just type in all of this and then go through these, type in all of these and see which gives you the same exact value. And which choice 4 would be the only one that gave you the same exact value. All right, that's done. Let's move on. Oh my gosh, this problem, I like this problem. And I'm going to show you how to use your calculator. So you don't even have to know how to do any of this stuff, but we're going to do it the right way first. So the right way, first of all, is to put these in parentheses. I hate this color. Let's get rid of this color. Put these in parentheses. So what they want is A minus B times C. That minus right there, which doesn't look like much, that is what I like to call a butt kicker. It's going to kick your butt, and you don't even know what's going on, and your butt's getting kicked, and it's sore. So be careful with that. So A is just negative 3 plus 5i. When I show you the calculator trick of this problem, you're going to be pissed that I'm actually doing all this work. Minus, but again, this could easily be a part 2 question. Easily. They love putting these questions on part 2s. And it's actually not that bad of a question. So what we're going to do is we're going to ignore all of this. And we're just going to we're going to multiply all of this out. So 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 6i is 24i. Negative 2 times 1 is minus 2i. And negative 2i times 6i is negative 12i squared. Now, if you've got to remember correctly, I squared is really negative 1. So if I multiply these two things together, I really get positive 12. So positive 12 and 4 is 16 plus 22i. And this is negative 3 plus 5i minus. Now, why is that negative so bad? Because now you got to remember to just distribute it. So I get minus 16 and minus 22i. All right, let's see what we got here. Negative 3 minus 16 is negative 19. 5i minus 22i is negative 17i. And there is the illustrious answer. All right, you guys ready? All right, don't yell at me when I go through this. Watch this. This is so freaking cool. So I'm going to take negative 3 plus 5i, and I'm going to store that into A. Boom. New York State should not allow this. 4 minus 2i. 4 minus 2. Oops, escape. I. And I'm going to store that into B. And then I'm going to take 1 plus 6i, 1 plus 6i, and I'm going to store that into C. And what do they want? They want A minus B. Now, you can't put BC. You got to put, now notice how they're turning black, bold, but if I put this BC, it's like not bold. That's because when it's bolded, that means something's stored in it. So I'm going to put B times C. You got to be kidding me, New York State. Fix this system. This is not the way kids should be taking tests. Okay, but you're going to put on the level playing grids. All kids should know how to do this. This is why I present it. I don't agree with you should be able to do it this way. I believe this should be done without a calculator. But but New York State allows it, so we're gonna put everybody on the same even keel until they fix this problem. All right, there we go. That problem's done. 15. I'm gonna pause for a second. I will come back to this question in just a minute. So here we go. Which graph represents this thing? So do you see how this is all graphed like this? Well, I'm here to tell you there is a very, 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 very simple way to do this on the graphing calculator on the TI Inspire CX. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to show you the mathematical way, and then I will put you on the even keel that New York State allows. Boy, am I on this kick. I wish they would change this. We're going to change this. This is an exponential equation. I'm going to change it into a log, because in order to get rid of that y, and what my goal is to figure out what y is equal to. So in order to figure out what y is equal to, I got to change this into a log. So I'm going to put log. Now, if I look right here, the exponent is y. That makes 3 the base. And logs are equal to exponents. So the y goes there and x goes there. So if you know that which one of these is the log function, you're done. Now, if you don't know which one of these is the log function, you can come over to your old calculator and do this. There we go. Let me get rid of this. Red X, go away, go into calculator mode, we'll go control log base 3 of X, I'm finished, it's choice, I don't know what the heck choice it is, go away, choice 2, there's the answer, choice 2. Now, having said that, let me show you how to do this problem on the TICX. Again, this is unfair, this shouldn't be allowed, please New York State fix this. Did I say that already? Ugh. Drives me crazy that they're going to compare all these kids against each other, but they allow this crap. So if you hit the backspace and you choose relation and you just type in x equals 3 raised to the y, there's the answer. I don't know, there it is. Calculators get smarter. We got to outsmart the calculators. Here we go, kids. This question, I'm going to tell you right now, I actually missed this question, and it's ridiculously easy. I'll try to shrink it a little bit. There we go. I just didn't read it correctly. What it says you know what it is? I'm not used to looking at graphs, I guess. This says New York State is the dots, and the national average are the asterisks. So if you look at the dots, we got the dots. It says, if New York State's gas prices are modeled by G of X, that means this here is G of X. Which expression represents the national average, X months from August? Well, look what's going on. How far away are these from each other? 2 away, 2 away, 2 away, 2 away, 2 away, 2 away. In other words, the other national average function is just a shift down 2. Well, if you remember correctly, if I add or subtract on the inside of parentheses, that's a shift left or right. We were going down. If I add or subtract on the outside, that's a shift up or down. And since we're going down, the answer is choice 4. That's it. That's all she wrote for that question, kiddos. All right, this is a pretty cool question. I like this question, mostly because it has math in it. Well, it's a math test. It should have math in it, I guess, but it has Algebra 2 in it, which makes it even cooler. All right, data from these students enrolled in local high school are shown in this Venn diagram. So we got kids in Algebra 2, we got sophomores, and we got sophomores. So remember what it is. These are the kids that only take Algebra 2, that aren't sophomores, but take Algebra 2. These are our sophomores taking Algebra 2, and these are our sophomores that aren't taking Algebra 2. And these are all the people that are not sophomores and are not taking Algebra 2. Now, by the way, if they asked you how many students are there, just add those up. I think it's 1,600. Oh, look, yep, there's a 1,600 in this problem. But here's what we want. We want the probability that a student is a sophomore given their Algebra 2. So they want the probability of being a sophomore given Algebra 2. Now, this thing becomes the most important thing. In other words, the only thing you're allowed to look at is Algebra 2. When they say given Algebra 2, the only thing you can look at is Algebra 2. So everything else doesn't exist. You guys don't exist because you're not in Algebra 2. None of this other stuff exists. I don't care about any of it. None of this exists. You can't look at this. So the only thing I'm allowed to look at is this Algebra 2 circle. Right here. All right. Well, how many people are in that Algebra 2 circle? That is 295. So my denominator has to be 295. Now, how many of those people in that circle are also sophomores? 85. No other way to do the problem, kid. That's it. Nice question. Like that one, New York State. That's a good one. All right, here we go. So this one requires the use of a calculator. You have no other option but to use the calculator on this problem. So let's just go through it. We'll go into graph mode. By the way, I know that because notice how all the answers are decimals. And remember, when does one function equal another function? One function equals another function when they intersect each other. And I'm going to tell you a warning about this problem in a minute. They came up to bite some of my smart kids in the keister, and it was my own fault, and I'm so mad about it. So 2 natural log of x, and then minus 1. I'll press enter. There's that. And the other one is the natural log of x plus 6. So control natural log. Oops, I pressed tab. And then control natural log of x plus 6. Enter. So I need to know when they hit each other. Okay. Menu. Analyze graph. Intersection. Click. Click. They hit each other at 5.62. Believe it or not, that's the answer. We're done. Now, what I want you to be aware of the fact is sometimes they're going to put this whole thing as an answer. So you might see 5.62 comma 2.45. Do not fall for that. When they say, hey, when do they equal each other? They're only talking about the x values, not the y values. Be careful. That comes up periodically. All right, this problem's pretty cool. Which of these has a period of 8? So you need to remember your period formula. Period is equal to 2 pi over b. Now, what is b? Well, you got to remember, this number up front is a. Don't worry about the a. Just worry about the number in front. That's a. This number here is b. There's b. And here's c. So this is a, just the 4. This is b, just the 8. And this is c, just the 5. Now, everybody fell for the fact that, oh my God, there's an 8 in that problem. It has to be one of those answers. These are not the answers. Those are the tricks. Those are the, hey kids, I got a little candy here for you. Why don't you come over to my van? No, don't get in the van. Never get in the van. I know, you're thinking I'm a little creepy. I don't care. So, period is equal to 2 pi over b. So we're going to do 2 pi divided by, and these, in this case, both of these are pi over 4. So let me show you why this is right. So in order to do this problem, you got to remember when you divide by a fraction, that's the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. I'll show you how to do this on a calculator as well. So it's really 2 pi over 1, that's what this is, times 4 over pi. Well, notice the pi's cancel, and I end up with just 8. Now again, you could do this on your calculator. Come over to the old calculator. I call this the stupid machine. Makes you dumber just using it. But it does get you some good grades. Control division. And then we're going to go 2, use the pi button, pi, divided by, control division, I forgot, pi divided by 4. Pi, that's my old age, pi divided by 4, I press in my calculator, I get 8. So I can use my calculator to help me with that. So I know that's going to be one of these two. Now it also says it has a maximum height of 1. So two of the formulas you got to remember that we like to use, Miss Newman and I, is max and min. The max is c plus a. The min is c minus a. Now remember, a is 4 for these. Not -4, it's 4. The negative just means which direction you're traveling. And c for the first one is -3, and for the second one is 5. So one of these two, when I add them up, is going to give me 1. So which one of these, when I add them up, is going to give me 1? Well, let's see. 4 and -3 make 1, and there is the big winner. All right, done with that one. I'm going to show you a trick to doing this one on the calculator. Again, New York State should not allow this, but they do. I'll be right back. Yes, a little bit of coffee, a little Dunkin' Donuts. Okay, so we're going to do this the right way. The right way is to group these two. I'm going to group these two. My own students tell me, stop harping on New York, blah, 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 blah. I don't care. I do, because I think they should change the way they do things. So we're going to take out an m squared. And when we take out the m squared out of those first two, we're left with m minus 2. We're going to copy over the plus sign. Now, the only thing I can take out of these two is a 4, so I take out a 4, and I'm left with m minus 2. So if you remember correctly, my first set of parentheses is going to be m minus 2. That's the GCF. That one and that one are the GCF. So I take that out, and I'm left with m squared plus 4. And I want to know when this equals 0, because that's what the problem asks. When does it equal 0? Okay, so I know one of my answers is m equals 2. Well, that's got a 2 in it, that's got a 2 in it, that's got a 2 in it, and that's got a 2 in it. So that was kind of uneventful. It's this part that's the most exciting part. They want to know m squared plus 4 equals 0. And here comes the tricky part. So we get m squared equals negative 4. Bring the 4 over. When you take the square root, you got to remember to put a plus or minus. And now you got to remember that the square root of negative 4 is not negative 2. Not. The square root of a negative, and this is only true with square roots, the square root of a negative has an I in it. So this is plus or minus 2I. And there is the right answer, choice 4. Now, I told you I was going to show you how to use the calculator to help you, right? I am going to do that. So we go into menu. Now on the TI Inspire that you're allowed to use on the graphing calculator, it's menu 331. So it's menu algebra, polytools, find the roots of a polynomial. It is this is a 4th degree polynomial. And never choose real, always choose complex. Wait, was this a 4th degree? Oops, it's a 3rd degree polynomial. Never choose real, always choose complex, because that will give you the imaginary answers. Let me show you what happens when I just choose real. I click OK, and I go, OK, 1, negative 2. You only put the coefficients in front. 1, negative 2, 4, and negative 8. 4 and negative 8. If you do this and you press enter, you get 2 only, and you're all excited. But that's the problem. You can't do that. You got to do menu, algebra, polytools, find the roots of a polynomial. It's a 3rd degree polynomial. If you choose complex, always 1, negative 2. I already forgot all these answers. Negative 2, 4. Oh, crudola. Is it 4 and negative 8? 4 and negative 8. And you do that, you get negative 2i, 2i, and 2. And it gives you all the answers. So that's the answer. Yes, can you believe you can do that on your calculator? Boy, this test, by the way, had a lot of trig in it. I was just really amazed at how much trig it had in it. The height above ground for a person riding a Ferris wheel in t seconds is modeled by this function. How many seconds does it take to go from the bottom of the wheel to the top of the wheel? Wow. Wow. This was a very tricky question. But if you remember correctly, this is a sine function. This is the sine curve that goes like this. Right? It can just keep going forever and ever and ever. It's probably going behind my head right now. That's the sine curve. So the question says, here's a sine function. It's modeled by this. Let's say this is the function. How long does it take to go seconds? Does it take to go from the bottom of the wheel? This is a great question. Love this question. To the top of the wheel. Very, very difficult. Very difficult. First, you had to understand, okay, it's a sine curve. Then you had to come through and say, okay, I want to go from the bottom of the curve to the top of the curve. How long is it going to take to go from the bottom of the curve to the top of the curve? Well, the next thing you needed to remember is the time it takes to go through the whole thing. One full curve is the period. Again, another period question. Now, I only want to go from the bottom to the top. Well, that's actually just half of the curve. So if I only want half the curve, I'm going to take the period and divide by 2. So I said, okay, I got to remember that period formula again. Period is equal to 2 pi over b. Well, remember, this is b right here, pi over 45. So we come over to our calculator and we go, okay, I want to know what the period is. So I do control division, 2 pi again, I can't believe they have so much trig on this test. Pi divided by 45. And I get 90. So my period is equal to 90. And that, of course, is one of the answers, but it's not the right answer because I'm only going from the bottom to the top, which is half of the period, and that's choice 45. Tricky question. Love that question, though. I love that question. All right, kiddos. I'm going to show you how to do this one graphically, and then I'm going to show you how to use your calculator. So, the directrix is y equals -1. Y equals -1. Now, they gave you this function in what's called vertex form. Now, why is it called vertex form? Because this is the vertex right here. Now, you just have to remember one thing. When you take numbers out of parentheses, they come out with an opposite sign. So 2, but this one is the same. Now, remember, that's all that transformation work, right? Inside the parentheses is left or right, but backwards. Outside the parentheses is up or down, but normal. So that -2 really becomes a +2, and this is a +2. So my vertex is 1, 2, 1, 2. And here's my parabola. Now, you have to remember that the focus is up here. In other words, the vertex is halfway in between here and here. So if this is 2, 2, and this is -1, that distance is 3. So I need to go up 3, and that gives me 2, 5. Now, again, here we go again. BMI soapbox. New York State doesn't fix this. All students can do this. You just go into graphing calculator mode, control division, 1/12, parenthesis, x minus 2 squared plus 2, enter, and I go menu, analyze graph, analyze conics, and I'm looking for the focus. There it is, focus. Click on the graph, and there it is, 2, 5. I used my tool to arrive at the solution. I don't think that's what they wanted in this problem, but we did it. All right, kids. Here's another really good question. Let me see if I got time. Yeah, I got time. So, a fast food restaurant analyzes the data. I'll drink some coffee while I read it. You read it as well. After its analysis, it discovers that events D uses the drive-through and FF, French fries, are independent events. Now, as soon as they tell you independent, you're going to write 3 things down. The probability of D is equal to the probability of D given F. The probability of F is equal to the probability of F given D. And the probability of F and D is equal to the probability of F times the probability of D. These, although I wrote those terribly, these are your independent formulas. Now, if you don't know those by the time this Regents exam comes, I don't know what you're doing. Those are your independent formulas. I guarantee one of those is on the test. It's on every single year. You need to know your independent. So one of those 3 is going to be useful in this problem. I just don't know which. Then the question says, given this information, F, the probability of French fries given they went to the drive-through. So they're looking for the probability of French fries given they went to the drive-through. Well, that's just equal to the probability of French fries. 0.8. We're done. That's it. Believe it or not, that's it. You know your formulas. You know what's going on. Okay, kids, you have got to memorize those formulas. You've got to know all of that stuff. I hope you're doing okay. That ends this video. Keep working hard. Keep studying hard. Let me know how you do when you're finished, please. I really, really want to know. I'm really excited when you guys do well and you are able to use my material. Okay, guys? Good luck on the Regents. Goodbye.